Welcome to another edition of the Horror Chambers DVD and Blu-Ray collection. I know it's been a while since I did an episode. I've been busy with lots of other stuff, so I haven't had time to do one. I also am hoping to do another episode before the end of the year, as I'm going to probably highlight most of my Black Friday, Thanksgiving weekend purchases. So that's going to be a separate video. That's going to be the next video. I'm just waiting on Seven Films to send me over one of their latest releases that I pre-ordered during that weekend. But in the meantime, I picked up a ton of other films. So here are some of the films that I picked up recently. Because it's been a while, and since it's been a while, it'll take forever to highlight every film I've got, so. So I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Horror Chambers DVD and Blu-ray collection. And let's get on with the episode. The first films in this edition of the Horror Chambers DVD and Blu-ray collection are films from different labels. As you'll see in this episode, I'll have a special one for Epic Pictures, one for Vinegar Syndrome, one for Trauma. But first, I'm going to start with various labels. And the first film I'm going to talk about is The Haunted House on Sorority Row. This was a very entertaining film. I remember getting this film back a couple years ago on DVD. This is a very good film from director Henrique Kudo, who's done some really good horror films like Babysitter Massacre, Bleeding Through, and so on. This film is entertaining. It may be a little too talky, but it's a film that I enjoyed a lot. The next film is one of my favorite films of 2018 so far, and it's Red Eye. You heard me talk about it on the latest episode of Anthony T's Horror Show with Kevin Cook, as we definitely both recommended this film. So I'll refer you to the podcast, but definitely check this film out. I enjoyed this very much. Then the next one we got is Puppet Master The Littlest Reich. This was a very good film. I thought maybe the humor was a little too overkill, but once it starts getting into the action of the film, I really enjoyed it. I did a review of the film at thehorrorchamber.blogspot.com. I gave it 4 stars. It's a good film. Definitely check this film out. It's probably the most craziest Puppet Master film in the series, even though this is a reboot. But it's definitely worth checking out, especially for a scene in the film which pretty much is probably the most craziest scene in any Puppet Master film. I won't tell you what that scene is. I'll let you see the film for yourself. Next up are 2 more Blu-rays that I got that are miscellaneous labels. First, you got Mandy. This film was a acid trip. I talked about it a little bit also in my last podcast, where me and Kevin Cook talked about 5 independent horror films in 2018 that you should check out. This film was very trippy, and this is probably one of the best Nicolas Cage performances in years. But I want you to listen to the podcast, so it's episode 8, by the way, if anybody's wondering. You can find it also on the YouTube channel. Enough of that self-promotion. Move on to the next film I got. It's Deep Blue Sea. Haven't seen this film in a while. It was a good film. When I saw it, pretty much seen saw it. Wouldn't mind checking it out again, considering that I recently also picked up Deep Blue Sea 2 during the Black Friday sale for $4. So, definitely looking forward to checking this film out again. And may just have one night have a double feature of that and Deep Blue Sea 2. The next three films are all double features. Now, the film that I just recently talked about that I never thought I would see on Blu-ray is a film called Nina Forever. This is a very good dark comedy / horror film. This film has very good performances from its leads. And it's really one demented film. It's part of a double feature from Dread Central Presents, as this disc has that. And if you look over here, it also includes Imitation Girl, which is a sci-fi film, which I haven't seen yet. But still, I got this release definitely because I wanted to see Nina Forever and own it. So, the next film, or double feature, I may ask, is #Screamers. This is a film that I reviewed earlier this year for the horrorchamber.blogspot.com site. I thought it was a really good film. Had a good time. Not the best of the year, but still, it's a recommend film. And it's also accompanied by a film called The Monster Project, which I think is also a found footage film like #Screamers. So don't quote me on that one, but I think these are both found footage films. Then the last one is Zombiology. Sorry about that. This is, I believe, a foreign film. And this is really looks so demented. I saw the trailer for this one. I knew I had to eventually try to see this film. And this has also appeared with another really offbeat film called Vidar, the Vampire. And that, I don't know, that looks like an offbeat film as well, as I saw the trailer for that one as well. So Vidar, the Vampire, and Zombiology. I think it's just a package of foreign horror films. And the other Dread Central Presents release I have is Extremity. This looks very creepy. Haven't had time to check it out yet, but I can't wait to check this film out. And it's just a single release. I also picked up 2 other releases as well during the Black Friday sale, which I'll share with you probably sometime in mid-December, so all the Black Friday stuff can get in. But that's the other Dread Central Presents release I got. The next 4 films are from films that I picked up at the Vinegar Syndrome booth at Rock and Shock. First, the film Blood Harvest. This looks like a very weird film. Plus, hearing news about the film before its release kind of helped me in wanting to check this film out. So, I decided to pick this one up at their booth. The next film that I picked up is Star Time. This film was one of those films that I picked up because I liked the plot synopsis for it. Looks interesting. Plus the fact that it does look weird, judging by the cover of the disc. This is a film I haven't seen yet. In fact, I haven't seen any of these films, so don't expect any reviews on any of these films since I haven't had time. But I'm looking forward to checking this weird looking film out. Next up, you got The Incubus. Now, this is a film that stars John Carradine and John Ireland. This is a film that I've been wanting to check out for a while, but I haven't had the time to check out because I was waiting for a Blu-ray release of this film. Thankfully, it's finally out on Blu-ray, so I can finally get a chance to check this film out. Can't wait to see this film because this looks like an interesting film. The final film that I picked up over at Vinegar Syndrome's booth there was Death by Temptation. This film features cinematography from Ernest Dickerson, who has directed various episodes of The Walking Dead, and it also features an appearance from Samuel L. Jackson before he hit it big in films like Pulp Fiction and The Avengers. I haven't seen this film, but I can't wait to check this film out. As because this is a trauma film, so I'll eventually be checking this film out because I love trauma. Finally, in this edition, is 2 releases from Scream Team Releasing that I recently picked up. First, I picked up 1031. As you can see, it has the autograph of Rocky Gray. I picked this up through the Indiegogo campaign. Thankfully, it made its goal, so we got a Blu-ray at 1031. This features films from Justin Seaman, who did The Old Hag, Zane Hirschberger, who I believe also worked on The Bond as well with Justin Seaman. You have Killing the Dance, which is my favorite one, and a couple of other films, including Rocky Gray's directorial debut. If you don't know who Rocky Gray is, he used to be in a band called Evanescence. Now he's into scoring and filmmaking. And it's definitely was one of the highlights of 1031, his film. So I definitely recommend you check this film out. And finally, as I move over here, I recently picked up also Bong of the Living Dead. I don't mean to beat this film like a dead horse. This is a great film. This is definitely going to be on my best of 2018 list. I talk about it more, I believe, episode 5, where I recommended the film on the Anthony T. Horror Show podcast. So, if you want to hear my thoughts about that film, check out episode 5. As I believe I also talked to the filmmakers from Dude Bro Potty Massacre 3. And I also talked to the filmmakers of Survival of the Film Freaks. So you can definitely check out that podcast over at docdiscussions.com or Doc Discussions on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. This is Anthony T. I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Horror Chambers DVD and Blu-ray collection. Have a good day and support indie horror.